Well, look who's back from the dead, YouTube people. The grading companies. Everyone had a magical month of January. That's right. We were looking at Gemrate data today. A little late to the party on this one because of all the other news and nonsense going on in the hobby space. But January was absolutely insane. PSA came in slightly up, but they're basically capped out at that 1.3 to 1.4 million mark, and we know that they currently have a backlog that they are working through. I know that I can update you my own personal order, 12 card, one of the December specials that I shipped around Christmas time. Grades popped yesterday. I'll have the cards in hand later this week for a grade reveal on that. So, and that is, I noticed this is the first time that order is shipping from the dreaded New Jersey office. Now, I already know the grades, so more on that later this week. Unless something crazy happens, maybe it'll push to next week. But we will have a grade reveal coming soon. We all know how great the last one went with the Paul Skeens PSA 7. CGC, Monster Month, up 38%. SGC, Monster Month, up 30%. Beckett, that's right. You know it's a wild and crazy month in grading when Beckett actually had a good month. They're up 69%. Now, year over year on Beckett and SGC is a slight increase. CGC had a massive one year over year. And PSA's was in line with about a 7% increase there. So wild stuff across the grading scene, and the business days and stuff were pretty equal month over month. That is kind of one thing to factor in. So I don't know if this is just as simple as we are past the holidays. I always kind of joke like December is usually a bad month, or people taking PTO, more people off work, more vacation time getting put in, whatever. But January has popped back to a massive degree. And if you are going to be grading cards, I cannot recommend enough the Penny Sleever Grader Pack. That's right, sponsor of today's video, thepennysleever.com, your home for hobby supplies. I actually just ordered 2 of these the other day because I am out of semi-rigids and I had to get some more. So I picked up a couple of these bundles to get the sleeves to go along with it and stock me back up again. You can get free shipping on orders $59 and up, and 10% off your first order with code NEOCARDS. You could find all that information in the description of this video. I have another grading order I need to send out, and I need some nice, high-quality semi-rigids to put my cards in to protect them. Back to the Gemrate data. Let's look at some sport and non-sport breakdown, a few little interesting things to note here, and then we will hop over and look at tag and arena club numbers. PSA on the sports side up 15, SGC up 30, CGC up 30, and Beckett up 64. So just huge increases across the board there. TCG stays flat, big jump for CGC at a 40% increase. Beckett a massive jump of 82%. And SGC a massive jump at 56%. Gemrate notes that football was the big winner of the month, and as you can see in the top sets graded, 4 of them are football, 4 are baseball, with Panini Select leading the way. Topps Now way up there, Topps Chrome Update way up there, and then we finish up some other 2023 stuff. I presume here in the near future, maybe as soon as next month, 2024 Prism Football will be on this list. More on 2024 Prism Football in a separate video. There is some very interesting grading data early on for 2024 Prism Football that we need to talk about. But we will look at that potentially as soon as tomorrow. On the TCG side of things, the number 1 set, Terrestrial Festival, that is the Japanese version of Prismatic Evolutions, which is taking the TCG market by storm right now. That's not on here yet. I wouldn't expect it to be, as there is a little bit of lag time from release to when things actually start hitting. But I have a sneaking suspicion Prismatic Evolutions will be all over this list, probably as soon as next month, potentially. as there are a lot of very, very gradable cards out of that release. Let's pull up and look at the Tag and Arena Club numbers. Arena Club coming in at, once again, it's not just the big boys that had a big jump. Arena Club comes in at 14,500. One of their biggest months in recent memory. I'm just kind of scrolling back through here. Biggest month ever, actually, since we have been tracking this stuff. So in over a year and a half, their largest month to date. Tag 25,000, in line with where they were the last couple of months. Though one thing to note, as we sometimes do with tag data, of that 25,000, they were back in line with their Pokemon stuff. 12K was Pokemon, and if you remember, they usually have very large Pokemon months. It's a little bit lower than normal, but still quite a bit. And then also randomly 7,000 in football. So that lines up with what we kind of saw from the other grading companies, but it just seems way out of whack compared to everything else. That is a massive number for them in a sports category. So I don't know if that was genuine market demand or if someone's got some sort of football repack or something that they're putting together. I don't know. We'll have to see if that number holds or if it was a one-off. It just seems kind of weird that football was that far out of line. Like I said, football was really popular with the main graders, but it wasn't like that extreme like we saw with tag. So those are their numbers there. A few other kind of just interesting things to note / watch moving forward. CGC had a really good month. I think they're poised to have a really good February as well, at least the start of it. However, one thing that's kind of happened the back half of this month, if you're subscribed to the TCG channel, you've seen this, and I've made some mentions of it in the weekly sports card market update. They have a fairly massive Pokemon grading scandal going on right now, where some very, very expensive, very, very rare high-end Pokemon cards were found to be potentially very, very fake. And that is probably going to have some fallout on them, at least on the TCG side of the world. And we'll see if they can maintain this momentum in the sports card side of things. I like CGC. I've always been a big fan of that slab. I have talked about that forever. I do still occasionally use them for PC stuff, mostly through ComC. But on the sports card side of things, the value just tends not to be there now. We'll see if that changes or not over time. PSA, obviously still working through their backlog. Ryan Hogue gave an update on the PSA podcast the other day, talking about how, they're chipping a couple of days off of that backlog every week. And it sounds like they may be getting things back to normal here in the next couple of weeks. Even with the delay checking orders in, my order moved through the system fairly quickly once it actually got checked in. That was the real trick on that one. But that one was sent in right before Christmas, and the grades popped early February. So I'm going to call it like 6 to 7 weeks from the time that I shipped it. Even with their delays, that seems pretty quick. They have fully announced their February specials. Nothing really in there. There's a couple high value specials, but nothing super, super crazy there, which once again is not surprising. It feels like February is going to be a little bit of a catch-up month for them, and then see where things go from there. I would love to know where the Beckett growth came from out of nowhere. I wonder if they had like some large orders that all hit the pop report at the same time, or if they had some stuff sitting around or what. But that just seems completely out of the blue. SGC, Monster Month, and they just announced their new batch of specials. Yes, 80s is not vintage. I will continue to say it. I don't care, comment section, and I don't care, Peter, from SGC, what you say. I'm standing by that. The 80s, I refuse to admit that a decade that I was born in are now considered vintage. Sorry. I'm just not getting over that one. I'm going to keep bringing it up every time. So we have that going on as well with them, with their 2 new specials, and we'll see how that impacts things. February is obviously a shorter month, so I am sure the overall numbers will be down, but we'll see how it compares year over year for the various companies. But that is kind of where we currently sit in the state of things. If you need cards back fast, SGC is still the play. If you want to maximize your return, PSA is still the play. If you want a nice holder, CGC is a play. And there's Beckett. That's all I got for you, boys and girls. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.